Let's make a quick video of tying this jig. It's pretty simple. It's one that I call Sunburst. It's pretty simple materials, a little bit of marabou, some pearl chenille in orange, 1/8 ounce freestyle jig head, UV resin eyes. So stick around, let's give it a shot. Let's tie that and I'll walk you through it. All right, what I got in the vise is an 1/8 ounce freestyle jig head, painted disco gold, and the gold paint is from Jason Brummel, Jason's Tackle. You can get on his eBay page, you can message him through Facebook Messenger, and it's disco gold, and it is on a number 4 old school J hook. I've kind of seemed like I've leaned away from sickle hooks some. Don't seem like I get as many orders for sickle hooks anymore as I used to. We got it in a peak rotary vise. We're going to put a little Sally Hansen's on the shank of the hook. Just a drop is all you need on there. You can, I don't know, you can't really see it, but there's, I mean, just a little drop. It don't take much. It's just going to give the thread some of the feathers. It'll start kind of pushing through the thread a little bit. And so it don't take a whole lot for that Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails to push its way through the material you're tying with. I am using 6/0 yellow uni thread, and we are going to start right there behind the head. We are going to tie it all the way to the point of the hook. Then I'm going to work my way back up. We're going to trim that tag end off, and we are going to be tying this with yellow and orange marabou. So I'm looking for the marabou that's got these sharpest tips on it, stuff like that right there. That's a whole complete feather buried down in there. I don't really want that, but I'm looking for this one right here in the middle. I get very selective with my feathers. I'm kind of picky which ones I use, and I'm not throwing those away. I'll put those up, they'll go in a different bag, and I'll use those for really small jigs. But we're gonna strip some of that off that I don't need, and that's what we got on our marabou feather. That's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use pretty much the whole tip of that. If I was going down in size in jigs, I would probably, you know, if I was doing like 16, 32nd, I'd probably use just that much of an end of it, and then I'd go back and pick off all these other ends that are coming off for a smaller jig. But being this 1/8 ounce, we're going to put almost that whole end of that feather into that jig, and that still really isn't quite going to be enough, and we're going to put a strip of orange in there too to kind of help fill it in just a little bit. But I cut it off to where shank of the hook and maybe that much more, 3/4 of a shank of another hook. I'm going to pick off some of my little stragglers there at the end, clean it off, then I'm going to take it and I'm going to push it over the shank of that hook. That way all my feathers are wrapped around it. I'm going to go a little bit loose there, and I'm going to move my fingers back some. Tie right down to the point of the hook. Come back up. And that's what we got. We got pretty good coverage on it. It pretty much covered the whole hook. So we're kind of happy with that, but we're still going to throw in that orange just to give it that contrasting color. And since I'm not going to be using a whole lot on this one, I'm probably only going to take about that much of the tip of this one. And that's about all I'm going to use. I'm going to lay it right on top of that yellow. Pinch it off. And get it all straight there in between my fingers. I'm going to lay it right in the middle of that hook. Now when I come back up, that's when I'm going to get tight with it. I'm going to go back down one more time all the way to the point of the hook, and then I'm going to come back up. And I want to rotate it here to make sure I kind of got it the way I want it. It looks pretty good. I think we'll go with that. And then I'm going to be using, I'm going to be putting gold flash in this. And I'm very, very generous with the flash. And I tell people when they order my jigs, you know, I usually tell them that I go pretty heavy on the flash. Because, I mean, to be honest, the flash is dirt cheap. You get that stuff on Amazon in bulk for next to nothing compared to what it used to be. And we're going to do the same way. We're going to wrap it all the way down to the point of the hook. Then when I come back up, that's when I'm going to get tight with it. All the way back down one more time and then back up. And that's what I mean when I'm generous with the flash. I go pretty heavy on it. I don't really see a reason not to unless you're fishing a jig that's just like all natural colors and you want it to, you know, like a baby bass color or something like that. But as cheap as flash is now, I don't skimp on the flash. And we are using Pearl Chenille. This is medium. It's orange. It's from Plateau Fly Shop in Springfield, Missouri. It came from Wapsie. And I can give you the part number on it. CP2056. That is the part number from that. Came from Plateau Fly Shop. I use a lot of this chenille. I kind of like, if I'm making super flashy jigs, I love this stuff. Holds up good. It dries good. You know, after you're done fishing with it, it don't take it forever to dry in your box. We're going to tie our chenille in through the length of the hook. And then work your thread back up. I'm going to take my chenille, I'm going to hold it out, and then I'm going to turn my vise. Keeping tension on it, not super tight, but just tight enough where it's staying on there. You don't want to pull it so hard you break it. If you're breaking your chenille when you're putting it on, you're pulling it way too tight. Then we're going to throw our bobbin over that chenille a couple times. We're going to dig out like a little valley right there behind the head. We're going to pull that chenille over one more time. Wrap it again with your thread. Then I'm going to pull my chenille back out. I'm going to wrap it right here one more time. A couple good thread wraps. And we're going to cut the rest of our chenille off. And we're going to put our whip finish tool. I'm going to do 2 of them. And I'm kind of letting that thread where it shows through a little bit. So that way I've got a yellow tail, a yellow neck, orange body. I just kind of like the way it all goes together. Looks kind of good. I get a lot of comments on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Oh my gosh, you can't let that thread show behind that head. Oh yeah, you can too. That's the look you're going for. Go for it. That crappie don't care if that thread showing behind that head. I seen a guy post one time on there about how to tell if you got a quality jig and how to tell if you don't have a quality jig, the one that you bought. And one of them was you can see the thread behind the head. I do a lot of jigs where you can see the thread behind the head, and I've never looked at them as not being quality. You know, a quality jig to one person is one thing, and to another person it's something totally different. So, you know, thread shows behind the neck or behind the head and you want it to, make it the same color as your tail. You know, if you got a red tail and a green body, use red thread. Get it up behind that head of that. It'll help you hide where your chenille, where you're not, and all that stuff is. And I think it looks cool. I think it's a pretty cool way to make contrasting colors with your jigs. We're going to brush on the UV resin. We're going to put them in the oven. We're going to let them bake. They'll probably sit in there till I get home from work tonight. It'll really only take them like maybe a good solid hour to set up really good. I push that resin down inside that neck on those threads. And I'm pretty generous with the UV resin too. I usually I don't skip on that either. Sometimes that UV resin will take a dull paint job and really make it pop. And that is it. That is my 1/8 ounce Sunburst crappie jig. Freestyle head, marabou tail, plenty of flash in it. Matches that jig head. You see the sparkle kind of almost sparkles the exact same. Simple jig. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Hopefully we can get back into doing more YouTube videos again. Get this back up and rolling one more time. Got any questions, comments? Send me a message. Let me know. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to let you know when I got another video up and out. Until next time, we'll see you guys.